Same opening, he's Yoshi P. Thank you for supporting Final Fantasy XIV for so long. They will continue to work hard. What is the reason of making the mobile version? So like Final Fantasy XIV, even though it's successful, went through a lot of updates to become what it is today, but Final Fantasy XIV never really make it to like the biggest, the hottest shit up there, you know? So maybe making a mobile version can break into the market and make Final Fantasy XIV maybe more recognizable. Maybe one of the reasons why is because Final Fantasy XIV combat is too complicated. There's a lot of different ways to play the game. So because of that, there's no way that they could make a mobile version because it would be impossible, right? You know, with the scale of the game, right? So, you know, back then they didn't want to do it because it was impossible, right? So Lightspeed Studio approached them and say, yo, can we make a mobile version of Final Fantasy XIV? He was very shocked when he got approached. You know what Final Fantasy XIV needs to have? A good social system in the mobile game. Actually playing Final Fantasy XIV on the mobile game. Final Fantasy XIV Mobile should be a dating app. You have to pay a premium access. And if you have the premium access, right? Oh, hear me out, man. Hear me out. Yo, Square Enix, you watching? Hear me out. Whenever you pay a premium access, a premium subscription, when you right-click View Adventure Play, you are not only just going to see this Mikote, it will also come with the person's real-life photo. How do you get that photo? Final Fantasy XIV Selfie Day from Twitter. Extract that information. If they do that, the RP scene in the PC version will render obsolete. You're going to be visiting venues in the mobile app. That scared the shit out of me. So like, despite all these like shocking advance where, you know, they got approached, even though like back then they said that they want to make Final Fantasy XIV mobile, but it never really crossed the mind because, you know, aforementioned how complex it is, how this game is, blah blah blah. But now mobile game has advanced a lot, right? And then, you know, this company, they also heard about this company. What is the company called? Lightspeed Studio or something? And they know what they are capable of. And also the producing team, the developer, the staff also really love Final Fantasy. So like this is like a chance for them to make 14 like break into the bigger scene, the mobile scene, you know? And the biggest decision that they took to make this happen is that more people can play Final Fantasy. So in a way, okay, you see, this is the part that whenever Yoshi P says stuff like this, I'm going to read between the lines and tell you what I feel, right? Now, this is what I feel, right? You know that your game is not new anymore. You know that after 10 years, and you see, this decision is made on this 10-year mark, right? You know that after 10 years of Final Fantasy XIV, you know that you are already at the end of the road already. If you want to get, and if you can get new players in, it wouldn't take you until 10 years, after 10 years later to hard sell this game to a new player. You know what I mean? If you want to do that, you already tried, and I think they did. In 3.0, 5.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5.0, maybe 6.0. Now, 6.0 is a complete different story because 6.0 Square Enix and Final Fantasy XIV is extremely lucky that World of Warcraft imploded. Shadowland happened. The WoW players, the WoW content creators, even the casual, the hardcore, every WoW players hit the game. There's a max exodus. And what happens when you have a mass exodus of a very dedicated MMORPG player base? They want to play MMO. There's no better MMOs out there. What is the second in line? Final Fantasy XIV. That's why they all came in at a point that I personally think would already be a Dawn Trail situation. 6.0 or even late 5.0 after COVID. I really thought Final Fantasy XIV is going to reach a point where they just can't draw in new players anymore. They just can't get people in anymore. Like, they are hard selling it for the first 2 expansions, but they ran out of ideas already. Guys, can you please buy this? Guys, can you please buy this? Guys, can you please buy this? Bro, if I'm not going to buy the first 2-3 times, I'm not going to buy because you asked me the 10th time. Now, maybe some people wail out of annoyance, but they didn't push that angle, right? They didn't like desperate to sell the game, right? They were just like, you know, they just keep it an idea that, you know, we want new players in every new expansion, new players. So they didn't push that far, right? So, but if you didn't push that far and people don't just feel annoyed to buy your fucking shit, if they didn't buy the first 3 times, they're not going to buy the next 5 times you ask, right? But surprisingly, they didn't need to ask in Endwalker. They didn't even need to ask. Square Enix wasn't doing shit at the tail end of 5.5. In fact, 5.5 was really bad because the moment they announced that Ultimate was delayed, no one was playing the game. The directory was dead. Me, Xeno, no one was playing the game. No one was caring about optimizing. No one was caring about passing. Dude, no one was playing Final Fantasy in 5.5. The moment the live letter announced that there's no Ultimate, no one was streaming the game. None of us were playing the game. It was dead. The game was dead. But during that time, something happened. World of Warcraft imploded, everybody came in. So they got really lucky that they got what they wanted. Despite 4 or 5 expansions later that they are reaching the end, they got what they wanted. They got that new player base coming in. And then now reality hit again. Now 10 years later, now with the WoW thingy settled down, you know, people going back to WoW, now that you start a new saga, now Final Fantasy XIV is at the all-time low right now. 7.0 right now, Dawn Trail. 7.0 is Final Fantasy XIV is at the all-time low right now in terms of player retention. I'm pretty sure subscription count is still there. I'm pretty sure they're still making money. But the player retention rate is probably the lowest. And the interest of the players have in this game is also at an all-time low. I'm not saying that people don't play the game. I'm not saying that people hate the game or not interested in the game anymore. But the amount of interest is definitely lower. The amount of retention is definitely lower. The people that came back is probably lower. The people that stay locked into the game is probably lower. People who used to log in every day, 2 hours a day, are now probably logging in 5 days a week, 2 hours a day, and some even, and those people that used to log in 5 days a week, 5 days a week, 2 hours a day, are probably now like logging in 3 days a week, 1 hour a day. Your raiders that used to raid 7 days a week, PFing 7 days a week, clear a fight that took 7 days, now are done in 2 to 3 days. They still retain the sub, but the retention is not the same anymore. Why? Because your game been 10 years. You need to innovate, you need to be creative, you need to evolve the game, but you didn't. So it comes as a no surprise that they finally realized. 10 years later, now the 6.0 honeymoon period for their sales gone down. I think they finally realized that they need to break into a new market. They need to find a way. Hey, we are not going to get new players in anymore on PC. But we want people to try Final Fantasy. That's why they do collaboration. They want to get people from other community to try the game. That's why they now make a mobile version. So that, you know, maybe people who play the mobile version of Final Fantasy XIV realize, oh, this game is more than what I think it is. Oh, apparently there's a retail version. I cannot wait to see what the future of this game is going to be. Oh, I should check out the retail version, buy a sub, buy a game. And then when they go to Limsa, they see like so many people, they get a brand new experience. Then maybe they stay into the game. But they cannot sell Final Fantasy XIV and bring in new players via a new expansion, via a live letter, via a keynote, via a fan fest anymore. You know what I mean? They now have to break into another market, which is the mobile market, that try to tap new players from that market. And I think it's a smart move. Whether you guys love it or hate it, the mobile market is the biggest market in gaming. Whether you guys love it or hate it, mobile games are the future of gaming. Nobody is gonna buy a console to play a game. Nobody's gonna, you know, sit down there and play video games 16 hours a day. Nowadays, people love to play on the go. Everybody's got this. Everybody's got a smart device. Everybody can play the game at any time, at anywhere, and however much they want. Mobile games and mobile device, it's the future of gaming. It is. Same for TV. Who the f sit down home and watch TV? For me, a streamer, a gamer, I still watch movie on web browser, on web streaming sites. A lot of people watch TV or drama on phones already. You know, people are just sitting chilling in the, you know, in the corner of a bar. People are just sitting at the edge of the bed before going to bed, sitting on the sofa, watching shows on mobiles already, right? We are eventually gonna get there. Mobile is everything. So I think that they tapping into this market, and all these things are not what he says. All these things is what I think. The one thing that I'm afraid that they do is that the mobile version is too easy. It's too simple. There's nothing in it. There's no content. And then your PC version also have no content. It's too easy, so that it will transit the mobile players to play the PC version seamlessly. That is what I'm scared the most. One day, if Yoshi P come out to say, I'm sorry guys, Final Fantasy XIV retail cannot be harder because we now have a mobile market, and the mobile, you know, you guys know mobile game, you can't play the game at a high level, right? You can't, you know, you can't run around the boss like in mobile and like, oh, let me get my positionals, oh, let me do my rotation properly, oh my god, let me burst my 2 minute, my high APM 57 actions per minute. You can't do that on mobile phone, man. You're gonna have a fucking cramp. How are you gonna do rotation like this? Oh my god. There's no way, right? Right? There is a promise. There is a potential good things that can happen with the mobile, but it can also potentially make something bad happen to retail. You know what I mean? That's why a lot of people on Twitter, man, you guys are excited. I am excited. A lot of people are like, yeah. You guys need to look at both sides of the story, man. While it's good for the game, it's also bad for the game. Now, which direction is it gonna go? It depends on this man right here. It's a turning point. It will be a turning point. For the good, for the worse, I don't know, but it will be a turning point. It's a separate development. But he wants to make this game as close as possible to make it seem like a game that came from the same breed, you know? And in order for that to happen, he will supervise it and then he will give like feedbacks, and he will make sure that all Final Fantasy 14 players will feel like we are all playing the same Final Fantasy game. Yeah, I will definitely try it 100%. Why not? If I cannot get world first on stream in this game, maybe I'll get world first on mobile, you know? Anybody want to sign up? I'm gonna put up a Google form later. You need to tell me your monthly expenses. I need to know your monthly credit debit score. I need to know how much money you can potentially splash into this game for the static, not just for you, not just for you. Hey, if you are rich as fuck, I'm gonna try to recruit, say, CEO of Apple Computers. I need to get some Steve Jobs potentiality. I want to get people who spend $10,000 in Genshin Impact every month. I need these people to be in my static, and not just for yourself, right? Yoshi P say that this game will not be heavily monetized or there won't be gacha, but we know that that's a lie. Definitely there will be some sort of pay for convenience services, right? So if our static member like me does not have the money to proceed with, say, getting all the perks, the costumes, the stats, the weapon, I will need you to pay it for me. Okay, so yes, I will put it. I'll be very honest about that. I'll put it in my Google form. So please look forward to it. Yeah, see, that's what I said. He realized that Final Fantasy 14 as a PC game, right, or even as a console game, right, most people need to sit down there and play at home. You need to sit down there. You need to be in one place to play. But for Final Fantasy 14 Mobile, now it's a different story. People can play it at anywhere, and although it's, you know, it's a standalone game, it's most likely gonna have its own community. But at least now people don't have to sit here and play the game. Okay, so like obviously it's just gonna be casual play. Obviously it's just gonna be it can't be too much movement. That can't be, you know, the same mechanics. It wouldn't work in mobile because it's just for you to like sit in the corner, hold up your handheld device and play the game casually, right? The battle content is most likely gonna be completely different. There's gonna be a lot of changes that you need to make so that it can be enjoyed more casually on a mobile device. Yeah, that's why I say don't expect you to be doing a Dark Knight rotation on this, man. It's just not possible, man. Either number one, your finger is gonna snap, or number two, your screen is gonna break, or number three, your phone is gonna explode. I don't think he wants any of the three to happen, right? See, it's inevitable. So in order for that to happen, Yoshi P himself, his game designer, and his battle content designer needs to all sit down together to see how they can make it happen. So bro, you are a human being. Let's just say if your battle content designer in the retail game has to design a fight. Now he has to design the fight, and then he has to think about that in the future, this fight needs to work a different way in mobile. You see what I mean? So it's like, I know there are reassurances that, you know, it's a separate content, but because you are supervising it, because you want to make it work, you're gonna have to split away some attention, and that could be bad for the game. If I am a battle content designer, after, say, designing a couple of fights, and you keep telling me, okay, bro, come on, you make this Eden fight like that, you better be prepared to back it up when the mobile comes in, man. I never thought about that. So let's just say when I make Light Rampant, can the mobile users do this, say, in 5 years later? Yo, let's just make it slightly easier so that next time if me or my understudy have to convert this into a mobile fight, it will be easy. You see what I mean? Like, I am just coming with... I'm not saying that that is going to happen. I'm not saying that that is exactly what's going to happen. I'm just telling you that if you have a different version of the game that you have to cater for different audiences and or device and or community, and then you are having the same dev team to overlooking and make sure that there's a consistency in the transition, this type of thing is going to happen. Again, my fear is that this mobile version development might affect the retail. I cannot wait for the Heavensward version of the mobile. Final Fantasy 14 Mobile, Heavensward. Dude, I am playing that shit. I want to see it. I cannot wait to do Gordius on mobile. Now, the story is easy. Obviously, the story is easy. Re-representing the story in the mobile, it should be a walk in the park. Not a problem. Your MSQ trials, your MSQ dungeon, your MSQ solo instance, walk in the park. I think they can do that, even with interns programming it. 100% easy. It's the battle content I'm more worried about. Because if the battle content is not fun, people will download your game. Sure, people will try your game. But how are you going to... It's a mobile game, mind you. How do you get the... Oh, yo, you want this Gaia's sword? You want this Gaia's costume? Cha-ching! You know what I mean? like, you can't just base the fact on a good story. to sell or sustain your mobile game, right? You need that. You know? Okay, so in a way, rather than getting Final Fantasy XIV Classic server, this mobile version would be the classic server. You gotta go back. I don't even know whether we will go through all the way to the end of the story, but I assume we will. A round reborn. I think it's a round reborn. Yeah, you will get a round reborn. So it's kind of like we are playing classic, you know? They are very insistent that the story must be the same. The story cannot be different. The story has to be the same and well represented. That is number one most important thing for the mobile version. Yeah, so like the story has to be the same so that the Final Fantasy XIV PC version players will play this mobile version and have the exact same experience but replay it. Classic, basically, yeah. Okay, is this footage in-game for the mobile? Because it does look really good. Okay, except this Rogadin dude. This Rogadin looks like he's lacking a lot of pixels, man. If this is in-game footage, that looks good. Okay, they're gonna see how the patch works, but they're gonna start from 2.0. And let's just say, you know, how much content they can push out, how people want it, then they will do adjustment to how fast they roll the content. I mean, true. If it doesn't take off and people don't give a shit, right? Why would you put in more effort, you know? Yeah. I mean, they also have probably data, right? How much progression have the player been on to decide when to come? I mean, that's what mobile games are very good at. That's why you see some gacha games, they roll out shit faster than the others. That's why you also see some gacha game never felt pressurized to put out new content, right? Some gacha game needs to press that button. The emergency button. We need to sell this, you know? Whereas some gacha game, like say Genshin Impact, they can take their own time. You know, they don't have to worry about pushing content fast, right? They can take their time. This is the thing I fear most about, right? He says that he wants to make sure that the rotation, the jobs, and then the battle content, he wants to make it as close as experiencing the Final Fantasy XIV PC version. Like, you know, when you're fighting Titan, that you need to feel the heat of the battle. You need to feel the excitement. In order for that to happen, he needs his battle content designer to work together, and they are already working on the alpha beta to make sure that that happens. We are in the middle of 7.0. We are in the middle of a brand new saga where Yoshi P wants his developer to take more risk to make the game better for players. And then we get Arcadian. And then these same developers are now also eating into their own development and working time into making sure that the alpha and beta of the mobile version is gonna replicate that feeling of playing a mobile game the same as a PC game. How can you tell me and convince me and guarantee me that this mobile version will not affect Final Fantasy XIV? You can't. And that is what everybody should be fearing. I know that you guys trust Square Enix. I know that you guys trust Yoshi P. I know that you guys love these games like I do. But you guys can't put a blindfold and tell yourself that everything's gonna be fine. Okay, what is the monetization? How are you gonna make money from this mobile version? Okay. He's thinking hard for the monetization for this. You see, at the end of the day, it's him that decides. That's why if you tell me, right, Arthars is make a different studio, dude, you need this guy to say yes. So you cannot tell me that this guy, it's not gonna affect Yoshi P. It's gonna affect Yoshi P. What if the mobile version get a Y'shtola swimsuit and we don't? Can you imagine that? Okay, like, you know, Final Fantasy XIV has a subscription-based system, and now the same game is gonna come to mobile. What is the decision in terms of monetization? Is it gonna be subscription? Is it gonna be this? Is it gonna be that? Yo, this one is the most important one, I think. We need to also read between the lines, because I'm pretty sure he's not gonna give everything. He's not gonna scare you off right now before the game is even out, right? He's gonna win you over first. Okay, you see now Lightspeed Studio gave him suggestion on how to monetize. I don't know anything about this Lightspeed Studio. Do you guys know about this Lightspeed Studio? Can anybody give me a history of Lightspeed Studio? It's 10 cents! They will make you pay for the game. But I don't think that can be a compromise. Okay, they didn't. Okay, you see what I mean? They didn't suggest a gacha. Of course you can't. Like I said, you cannot scare the players away. You cannot immediately say, let them roll for a Titan weapon, let them roll for a Y'shtola that can join your party and she's like the best black mage in the game you can have. No, they cannot suggest that. Of course they can't. If they do that, I don't even think Yoshi P will say yes to the mobile version. There needs to be a middle ground. There needs to be a... Before we make them get addicted to the drugs, we should give them samples. This is probably what they're gonna do, right? They are looking at respecting Final Fantasy XIV as like an MMO, respect your time, but then at the same time, how do you respect your players' time and then make them play long and still monetize? So they are looking at, you know, blending all this together. Okay, so they haven't decided. It's just that they are trying to strike a balance between players who can play casually, play long, want to find a way to monetize it. So they haven't decided. Initially, before I read this interview, people were just saying that Yoshi P says the game is free. There's no gacha. And I'm just like, there's no way. There's no way you put a free-to-play game with no gacha. How the f else you gonna make the money? So it's probably misinformation from Twitter. Yeah. Because Twitter are like spreading the news as if like Final Fantasy XIV Mobile is a complete free, no gacha game. No way, right? They are undecided yet. They are trying to strike a balance. Actually, you know what? I think that they are most likely going to make a Genshin Impact type of Final Fantasy. Now if I think about that. So you do your own story, you do your own progression. You got a few dungeons that you can farm gear, and then those dungeons allow you to have multiplayer. And then you can bring your friends into your world, progress for you, do the MSQ for you. At the same time, it doesn't feel like it's going to be pay to win. They might be higher level than you. They might have more gear than you. And then they roll their characters to be able to play in their own world. Just like the duty support, right? Let's just say they want to do the dungeon themselves. They can play with their NPC that they roll for. And at the same time, you can still play with others, but you wouldn't be that big energy just because you spend more. Yeah, actually, you think about it, Genshin Impact is probably... Hey, I am not a big fan of MiHoYo and its games. I hate Genshin Impact. But I'm gonna tell you, admittedly, Genshin Impact is probably the most free-to-play mobile games out there. It is. But at the same time, Genshin Impact makes you feel that you're wasting your money. Because all these stupid C6, all these stupid weapons, all these stupid characters you roll, doesn't matter. If I'm not wrong, even today, their Abyss is still 12.3. I don't think they increased the Abyss from day 1 until today. So they didn't improve their endgame content. Technically speaking, they're only giving you the monetization option of, say, you cling on to the game, you love this character, you spend money on the character, but you don't really win anything. You're not really like a super whale, even though you spend tens and thousands of dollars compared to, say, Raid Shadow Legend. Raid Shadow Legend makes you big, right? But you spend tens and thousands of dollars in Genshin Impact, it doesn't make you big, right? So I do think that maybe Final Fantasy XIV will go that route. I feel Final Fantasy XIV should go that route. Monetize in the way that you can let players spend the money that they like. Like, you know, again, I mean, I know I'm using Y'shtola as a lot of example, but I do think that it's the most relevant example. Like, for example, I roll for Y'shtola, I decked her out, I pimp her out, I buy her. Oh, trust me, near collaborations will be there. Every single game will have a near collaboration. Don't worry about that. Okay, guys, don't worry about that. We're gonna get 2B as our trust duty support, and I'm gonna roll for it. I will personally drop $500 for 2B. I will tell you that right now. No shame. I love the game, and I support Square Enix. I will. Easiest $500 I will spend for 2B. In Final Fantasy XIV Mobile, okay? It's gonna come in. Near collaboration is everywhere. They will have it. I honestly think that is what they should do. I think that is the healthy gacha system, or rather healthy monetization system. Yeah, you get what you want, you get what you love, but it wouldn't impact gameplay. At the same time, these characters are not just gonna be cosmetics. You can actually use this character in your solo play, but it will not affect your multiplayer, because your multiplayer, you are using your Warrior of Light. I think that's probably the best way to go there. Okay, so there it is. That is the biggest, most important question for the interview, right? The monetization. So they don't know what they're going to do with it yet. So don't listen to people when people tell you Final Fantasy XIV is going to be free and Final Fantasy have no gacha. That is not true. That is not true. They haven't decided how they're going to balance monetization yet, but there will be monetization. There will be a reason for you to spend money, and the reason for you to spend money is gonna make you feel that it's worthwhile, and it's gonna keep you wanting to play the game more, and the monetization is not gonna scare new players away and gonna draw in players. So it's definitely cosmetic, it's definitely crossovers, 100%. This is the two minimum I can think of, 100%. They're gonna sell characters, they're gonna sell costumes, probably maybe sell consumables, right? Crafting gear, in-game free currency, yeah. So they will definitely sell you something. And you will definitely want to buy something. You will definitely need to buy something. Final Fantasy XIV Mobile, what type of players are you hoping to attract? He wants to get people that doesn't want to sit at home in front of the monitor or TV just to play the game on a console or PC. Yeah. Accessibility, right? He's going for accessibility. Even in the mobile game, right? There's most likely going to have a status between Sprout and Mentor because, you know, let's just say the mobile game comes out a couple of years. How are the new players? Hey. He has confidence that the game will last a couple of years. That's good. How are you gonna make like new players come into the game, right? He do believe that, you know, the Final Fantasy XIV, because of how amazing the community is, the Final Fantasy XIV community really takes care of Sprout. People have to, I mean, this one is true. They design mechanics so that people can come together, work together, help out one another to clear the content. And that is the appeal of an MMORPG. I agree. This one I do agree. Can you explain the mobile development plan from now on? Here on and out. Like I mentioned earlier, battle content and systems, there needs to be some sort of consistency. So their designer is already like working on it. He's still looking for feedback regarding like, you know, how these two games, you know, how can these two games be seamless. I assume this is going to be alpha beta. He's going to try to get more feedback, including monetization. So there is monetization. I want to emphasize, because again, I see the last 24 hours, a lot of people on Twitter are keep saying that, hyping that this game will be free to play and no gacha. But it's confirmed there is monetization. Okay? So probably they go through alpha, beta and see how the monetization works. They will collect feedback also on that part. Okay, they're gonna do some testing on certain... Okay, China, that explains why China is first. They're gonna make sure that the monetized part is okay. If the China player says okay, then I think the rest of the world will be fine. There you go. So, multiple regions will get to test it, but China first. China will get it first, they will test it, they will get feedback, they will adjust, then it will go global. Man, that means Southeast Asia is not gonna get it, man. Hopefully I don't have to do some VPN shenanigans to play the game on my mobile phone. That's gonna suck. That's gonna happen, right? He's like, you know, why does this region get to play first? When will my region get in? He's gonna hear a lot of that. They want to ensure that they are, you know, they are taking step by step. Sheesh! I think he made up his mind. At least I think he made up his mind. 5 years ago when people asked him, right, Final Fantasy XIV be 5 years, for the next 5 years, where do you see Final Fantasy XIV? You know, he was saying things like he's not sure whether he will be working on Final Fantasy forever. He's got ambitious himself. He wants to work on a different game. He wants to maybe create his own studio. He wants to make his own game. He might be looking for a replacement. You know, he might be looking for a new director, a new producer to take over Final Fantasy. Maybe he will do more of a supervising role. Maybe he will make his new company. He wants to make new games. Maybe he wants to make his own MMO. That was what he said 5 years ago, right? Today, 5 years later, he is like saying, as long as he's leaving on his last breath before he retires, he will give his best to make Final Fantasy XIV good. So now he's decided. That's good, man. Despite what I think about, you know, say, you know, maybe he's out of touch recently. Maybe he's been not playing the game more. Maybe he's not been listening to the right feedback. The game has gotten slightly worse. But if you ask me, can anybody come in and fill his shoe? I don't think anyone can, man. I'm really hoping that he gets his shit together. Because right now, it's a little bit all over the place. And this mobile version is gonna, yet again, take a little bit of attention from his already busy schedule. Hopefully, he get everything back together again. Because I don't think anyone is gonna step in and fill his shoe. I don't think so. The day Yoshi P retires, and the day Yoshi P don't do Final Fantasy XIV, is the day this game dies. At least half the player base is gonna quit this game if he retires. I guarantee you. Like, this game will die the day he stepped down. Oh, good interview, man. Good interview. This interview regarding the mobile version is better than all the media tour interview about Dawn Trail. I feel like I get more more realistic, non-bullshit, actual expectation that I can get from this mobile game than Dawn Trail. This interview of this mobile game makes me feel more assured and hype about this game than Dawn Trail. Let's see what Audrey translate. Yo, if you guys don't know Audrey, right? You guys need to follow her. She does very good translation work for everything Final Fantasy XIV related right now. Yeah. Yoshifi clarifies the mobile game will indeed not have gacha because all they want is for many people to play this game as possible while minimizing the monetization. That's correct. That is correct. Yeah. So in case people wondering that there is. But he's trying his best. Yoshi P, people have now asked how we will monetize. Oh, so she mainly talk about... I mean, I guess that's the most important one, yeah. People have asked how we will monetize the mobile game. For example, some game are made with gacha schemes so they can make as much money. That's not what we are about. With respect to the original 40, we designed the mobile game with one thing in mind. How long will the mobile player play this game? We want each player to enjoy 40 as long as they can. Therefore, our goal is allow as many people to play the game as much possible while only receiving just a bit of cash as monetization. Yeah, so they will want you to pay. You will have to pay. It's not so much about can you pay, you will pay for something. I can guarantee you there will be mobile exclusive mounts that if you buy in mobile, you will also get it in game. Actually, I think that would be the most healthy way. You want your PC version to also try out mobile, and then you want to monetize as minimum as possible in mobile, but then you can do that while also reward players who play PC. I don't have any problem with that. I'm gonna be honest with you. How is Black Mage these days? Garbage.